Ag PhD full episodes and more are now available on Acres TV, the newest ag platform connecting you to fields of information. Look for us on watchacrestv.com.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about the green bridge. What is the green bridge when it comes to agriculture?
Well, and this is kind of an interesting time too, Brian, because there are a lot of folks talking about, I want to have something living in my field all the time. I want to have living plants out there to give the microbes in the soil something to feed on and just to keep everything going in my soil. But the green bridge means we don't want to have something living out there all the time.
So here's what we're talking about. Quite often we have people say, well, you guys are just trying to kill all the weeds and the insects and the diseases with pesticides. Now granted, there are a lot of great pesticides and we're going to talk about those options. But we also want to talk about cultural practices that a farmer can use, or a gardener, or anyone who's raising any plant, so we have fewer weeds, insects, and diseases. So what this green bridge is having something living going from one crop right into the next crop. The green bridge means it's a way that weeds, insects, and diseases can stay alive, especially when we're talking about insects and diseases. What we want ideally is for about 2 weeks before we raise the next crop for there to be nothing growing at all out in that field. If there is nothing growing, think about it this way: there's no food for the insects and the diseases, and now a lot of them will die off, and then you have a much healthier crop when you plant it a couple weeks later.
And to some degree, crop rotation can be a substitute for this. So say you had wheat growing in a field and now you're going to have soybeans. So you had a grass crop, now you've got a broadleaf crop. Well, some of those same diseases don't work from one to another. They only work on grasses. They don't really impact broadleaf crops, or maybe the bug really only feeds on grasses and not on broadleaves. There's a limited amount that crop rotation can help with this.
But I'd almost call that a partial green bridge, Jared, because there's still going to be some things that translate. Like even on our farm, when we were going right from wheat into other crops, we had mites that would go from the wheat to the other crops, and that was a real problem for us. Sure, we didn't have all the disease issues, but we definitely had the mites.
Well, and bugs, of course, are going to move right from one crop to the other crop in most cases. So I'm not saying crop rotation completely solves it. And I'm also not saying this is only because we've got growers that are raising continuous cereal crops or continuous corn. That's not entirely the problem here either, because think about cover crops that we're putting in for us on our farm. We'll harvest silage and we'll immediately put a cover crop out into the field, and we'll try to keep something growing as long as we can. But there is a little bit of time there where we've harvested the corn, we put seed in the ground, but nothing's coming up for a little bit. So we do have a little bit of a time there that we've eliminated the green bridge.
Yeah, but that's not really what we're talking about. What we're saying is having no crop growing for about 2 weeks. That's eliminating the green bridge. That's kind of what we're talking about. So no seed in the ground, no nothing. We want that ground black. We want everything dead. And if you don't want to till it to make it black, just make sure at least everything is dead. And then hopefully you're going to have fewer disease issues and insect issues, and maybe even a few less weed issues.
Well, one of those weeds that you might notice out in fields is our weed of the week. Can you identify it?